Because that becomes an important thing in Dragon Ball at a point where
really
important might be an overstatement, but a lot of they like we see Goku trains in heavy gravity, and like other planets or like other like places they have to go. Sometimes gravity's a lot, so they have to like get used to those gravitational situations. Because imagine like Goku couldn't move the first time that he was on King Kai's planet, and it took him. What did he do to get used to it? Did he just like start walking around and just will himself?
He had to catch the monkey.
Okay, yeah.
He had to catch the monkey, so he had to get as good as moving around as the monkey did. So he had to move around like it was normal.
He did train to get used to the gravity. So yeah, that comes up once that's not a spoiler or anything. It's just like, oh yeah, they have to get used to like certain conditions that they're gonna be in later. But then yeah, he trains against the Kaioken, and would you call it? I know it as the Spirit Bomb.
Oh yeah, he does get like a little hand Spirit Bomb, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He didn't use it in the fight, so I forgot about it.
I do like the concept of the Kaioken. It is the most simplistic power up for a main character, because it's literally this: you multiply your numbers. The more you multiply, the greater the drawback is later. That is the basic blueprint of like a main character power up.
So we get to see apparently Shinron.
It's cool.
Let's just say so. Apparently Shinron can't grant the same wish twice. That is something that is established at this point.
Yes.
At some point. We get to see everyone that went to train with Kami has now surpassed Kami, including Yamcha and Chaozu, I guess.
Yeah.
You know. We get to see Goku catches the monkey, yeah. The Saiyans have landed on Earth, and they land in the city, right?
They do, and then Nappa's like, hey, watch this, and just nukes the city.
Yeah, it's funny. We get to see they go to confront Piccolo, Gohan, Krillin, Tien, Chaozu, and Yamcha. And this is the beginning of the fight. And so Tien goes out and beats one of them easily.
Oh, no, hold on. The Cybermen. You said Cybermen, right?
Cybermen, is that their name?
Yeah, so what they do is they show up, and they're like, we heard that there was a mighty warrior called Kakarot. And you guys just aren't that. Well, we'll give them some time. You guys want to fight some Cybermen? And they're like, ooh, yeah. So they plant these little seeds, and then they sprout up these little green gremlin creatures called Cybermen. And they explain that this is where the power scaling gets wonky. Each of these Cybermen are as strong as Raditz was.
Which is ridiculous.
No, that is ludicrous. There is no way that should equal out to how it does. Maybe if it's like, I don't know, a whole group of them, or like a couple of them were as strong as Raditz. Like, if Raditz was the weakest of them, that'd be okay. But that. Side note: I remember when Brandon started reading this, he thought that Nappa was Vegeta's dad.
I saw like a meme or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not making fun of you for it, but it's just like
yeah.
When you said that, I was like, oh god, that would have changed the story drastically.
It's just like whenever I was like, isn't Luffy's grandpa the pirate? Okay, yeah. So quick side note here. Slight spoilers for One Piece Chapter 1, I guess. So originally, whenever I started reading One Piece, I read the Romance Dawn one-shot as Chapter 1. I didn't read like the Romance Dawn like Chapter 1 of One Piece until like a lot later into One Piece.
Wow.
So I started it thinking, I was like, okay, cool, magic exists. There's this chick and this bird that's probably going to come back later. I wonder why she looks like this Nami character I've seen. Oh, that's cool. Luffy got his fruit from his grandpa, who's a pirate. Looking forward to seeing that again. I was just like, okay, cool.
Yeah, no, and I mean, granted, it's similar, but it's not the exact same. Just because you're like, oh, you saw Nappa, and you're like, oh, cool, that's his dad.
Yeah. So
so in the fighting, they fight
beats one of the Cybermen, and then Yamcha's like, don't worry, I'll take the rest of them.
Not yet. Others fought. Like, one of them attacked Gohan, and Piccolo like easily dispatched a bit.
Yeah.
I just want to bring that up because like Gohan. Okay, we're not gonna talk about later Gohan, but let's talk about Gohan right now.
I really like Gohan as a character.
Okay, and here's the thing. All right, keep this in mind. Whatever we say earlier, we just have to keep this in mind. Gohan, as a 4-year-old kid, has seen more like violence, war, bloodshed up until this point than like most normal people. He saw, I mean, he got abducted. His dad died.
His uncle died.
His uncle died. All these people that he's known like die. He just sees bodies dropping left and right, and is about to get slaughtered until his dad shows up later. But again, we'll talk about that in a bit.
Not any body drop. I will say the beginning of the Piccolo fight at the end of Dragon Ball was a lot more like, oh, so everyone's dying now. Okay.
Yeah, well, and in this case, Gohan's just a kid who's been seeing this. So Gohan, obviously, putting a 4-year-old in these situations is
5 now.
I mean, you started out 4. That's what I meant. 4 or 5. That's not much of a difference either way. You're still putting someone like a child trying to fight like these intergalactic serial murderers.
And you know what? He's holding his own.
He is. Believe it or not, like. It's one of those where Gohan, as a character, he's still being figured out. And I just want to bring that up because it's important to know, like, Gohan was thrown into this. And because that ties into a lot we can say about his character later. But right now.
Piccolo trains him over the time skip, and it's like, that's sweet. That's cool. What a neat little thing.
The moon is gone because Piccolo blows it up.
Again.
Again. It's
so let me get Yamcha.
Yes. Now, how big of a, like, other than you knew it was coming, how badly did you feel about that?
I was just like, man, Yamcha gets absolutely nothing.
No, he doesn't. I don't know what the point of him being there is.
I mean, it's like, just let him do something, Akira Toriyama, please. He's not a bad character. He's a cool little guy.
Once again, let's talk about this now while we can. Dragon Ball has the issue of, because it's objective numerical power scaling, a lot of characters become irrelevant. There are so many other shonen we can say the name of that they keep all their characters relevant. The issue is, and this is like a big noticeable trend, a lot of times when they fight a bad guy, it's just one person, and if you don't have the numbers, why are you there?
Yeah.
Like one character in another shonen might be strong enough to fight like the main bad guy on his own, but he's not strong enough to fight the entire army and the bad guy leading them on his own. That's why, you have a team there. That's why you work together. But in this case, it's like your characters literally get in the way by existing near the fight.
Yeah.
And in Yamcha's case, this is the first instance right now of he just wasn't deemed strong enough and was just killed off because he just didn't have the numbers to compete.
And funny Yamcha pose, so I'm happy with that.
We do get that. And then the fight,
Krillin and Piccolo beat the rest of the Cybermen like easily.
I mean, Krillin. Oh, and I remember that. Krillin. Okay, so you know what I said about Piccolo earlier. Krillin gets pissed because, granted, I feel bad for Krillin because Yamcha was one of Krillin's like longest friends.
Uh-huh.
Krillin scattershots all of them. One goes for Gohan, which Piccolo absolutely bodies. He just punches it and then like spits a laser at it. It's cool.
Piccolo's. I really like Piccolo.
Oh, Piccolo!
He's been one of my favorite characters to see like his development from the original Dragon Ball.
Even now, Piccolo is probably one of my not like a top contender, but Piccolo is a character I truly do enjoy. Like,
I could be completely wrong on this, but I mean, I know Goku, Vegeta, Gohan are still like up there in terms of like they're keeping up with the power curve.
I wouldn't. Okay, there's a new movie that came out.
Superhero.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about the canon validity of it. If it is canon, okay, they can keep up. If it's not canon, boy, they are nowhere near. So yeah.
So I like Piccolo. We get to see. So now it's Nappa's turn. So
Nappa. What do you think of Nappa? Because there's not really much to really go on. Nappa is, I'd say, like a more generic big bad.
He's less interesting than Raditz, and that's saying something.
the only intrigue Raditz had was, I am Goku's brother.
Yeah, but at least Raditz had that, you know?
And I don't remember much of the choreography of this fight because it is a longer fight. At least in the anime, it was a long time. And
really,
so
I think it was about the same length as the Raditz fight in the manga.
I remember some of the key points were like okay, what's it? Isn't it Chiaotzu goes next?
It was so Nappa cuts off Tien's arm.
Oh shit! Yeah, I forget about that.
And then Chiaotzu suicide bombed Nappa, and he's just dead. And he's already died before, again, so maybe he's dead for real now. That'd be crazy.
And once again, think about it like this: if this were any other shonen, that attack right there would have done something. If not everything, something. A character giving up their life for like a giant explosion, a sneak attack, giant explosion, just didn't do a scratch to Nappa. And immediately after, we see Tien give like I know it as Tri-Beam attack, it's Kikoho. He gives it like the hardest he can, drains all of his energy, nukes Nappa point blank, gets rid of his armor. Yeah, you know, when the dust settles, he's like covering his mouth like, hey, that was pretty good, kid. But he drops, nothing happens, Nappa remains unfazed.
And then Tien dies.
And then he dies. So
Lol.
We have 3 dead people so far with no progress made. Like, literally, Sidemen doesn't even count as progress. They were just fucking around with it, planted that. Like, no progress.
I don't think Yamcha ever died in the original Dragon Ball.
No, but
did he? Chiaotzu did, 100%.
Yeah.
I don't think Tien did.
No, I wouldn't assume so.
So Chiaotzu is the only one hard dead right now.
And yeah, he's hard dead. The other 2 are soft dead, which I fucking I hate that you have to say Dragon Ball.
Yeah. So the Saiyans are like, okay, we'll give you 3 hours for Goku to show up. Goku's rushing very fast.
Taking away.
Their tails aren't weaknesses anymore. They've trained them. You know, why didn't Raditz?
Yeah,
who knows?
Sorta. I don't know why Raditz do that. I remember some stuff in this moment, like they do like a combination attack. Gohan bows out at like the last second. They barely stop him. They do like multi-form technique. They do pull out a lot of techniques in this, or like
No, dude, Gohan's insane. Like for him to keep up with like and do what he was doing like at this age.
Yeah, and then
he has a ton of potential.
Krillin using the I don't know what it is, Kienzon, I think, but it's the Destructo Disc.
Yeah. I get to see. I can't remember how we saw this, but Goku has a power level of 5,000 at this point. Not for much longer, but he does for currently.
As he's running down Snake Way.
We get to see that Piccolo protects Gohan. They targeted Gohan and we're like, we're gonna kill Gohan, and Piccolo takes the hit for him, and Piccolo dies, and their Kami dies as well, and there go the Dragon Balls.
That was the hardest hitting death, because with the others, it's dude. Like, okay, at least, like, not only was Piccolo a legitimate good character, at least from my perspective, not saying good or bad, but I just cared about him more. Kami dies, and when Kami dies, the Dragon Balls die. So at this point, they've lost their ace in they lost their ace in the hole. And I think didn't Piccolo already say that? Where it's like, if you kill me, the Dragon Balls go, because he's trying to buy himself time, which he threw it away anyway. And yeah, Nappa literally blew up their chance to get the Dragon Balls. So what do they do after that? After let's just kill everyone because the Dragon Balls aren't around anymore.
Yeah, I think they decide to kill everyone, and then we get to see
like right before Nappa manages to kill them, we get the thing that the manga sets up of waiting for Goku.
Yeah.
We finally get it. We get the iconic, it's over 8,000. It's not 9,000, fuck you, it's 8,000.
They do say the funny thing. That's so true.
I say that because I thought it too. Like it's a mistranslation because it's 8,000 in the manga, right?
Mm-hmm. It's 8,000, I think, everywhere except for the scene where it's over 9,000. I think that was a mistranslation, like specifically in the English dub of the anime, and then that became insanely iconic. So
it's fine. Either way, it's like 1,000. So yeah, Goku shows up. He's fucking pissed. he goes Kaioken and easily mops forward Nappa. And now here's the thing, to bring up. Well, this just another problem with objective power scaling. It was basically waiting for Goku. There was nothing that seeing the beast that was Nappa compared to the others. There was nothing that they realistically could have done.
Yeah.
Even if Gohan did fall through on the attacks, it's like, okay, what? Nappa's still more powerful, and Goku shows up, and all of that like fear, intimidation is just gone in a split second, simply because Goku shows up and says, "Mine's bigger." And
now, on one hand, it was a very hype moment.
It was a hype moment. Like, if you're not thinking about it too hard, yeah, he shows up, mops the forward Nappa, like completely. Like, I just remember him like headbutting Nappa's back, feeling like the crack. It is a good moment.
Uh-huh.
But the logic behind it doesn't help the series, because Goku just kind of shows up and solves the problem.
Yeah, and we get to see, so obviously Goku beats him, uses Kaioken, all that. Vegeta's the one that kills Nappa.
Yeah.
Kind of cold-hearted, kind of odd. Vegeta gives off massive, I'm going to send off Cybermen to kill Yamcha and steal his girlfriend vibes.
Gee, I wonder why.
True. I wonder why he feels like that.
And in this case, you could see that as, Vegeta's still a villain at this point. You already know about later stuff. Vegeta's still the villain at this point. Yeah, the Nappa, even if it wasn't entirely accurate, Nappa was the one that killed Piccolo, which made the Dragon Balls not work. And so it's like, oh, he's useless to me. Why should I care?
Yeah. Here we have the start of Goku versus Vegeta. I don't know how many more times, if any, they ever really fight in Dragon Ball. Or if this is like the Goku versus Vegeta. Is this the Goku versus Vegeta, or are there multiple other times?
There is one other instance.
Okay, I was gonna say.
Well, okay. Training bouts aside, and for a full-fledged, if you want to call it a fight, yeah, there's one other time.
Okay. So we get to see they move to a desert, and
they go to generic Rocky Wasteland number 85.
That's so true. I will say, going into this fight, I was very hyped.
Oh no, this
maybe not so much because of the arc itself, but because I'm about to see Goku fight Vegeta.
This fight is the best fight, at least from what you've said about Dragon Ball Original. Up until this point, this is probably the best fight because it has the power scaling stuff, but logically speaking, it still works. Because here's the thing. Also, one little criticism beforehand: Vegeta was worried when he was like, "Oh, Goku, it's over 8,000." And he's like, "Oh, I'm just 3 times that."
Yeah, more than 3 times that.
Why was he worried?
Power level is very interesting.
He's 24,000. Why was he worried at all?
But why is Goku 96 times stronger than he was at the end of Dragon Ball? The world may never know.
Don't think about it. We get Goku versus Vegeta, and at least as of now, the logic behind their numbers works. Goku, let's say like this: Goku is about 8,000, on his own. He's about 8,000. Vegeta is at 24,000. Goku can use the Kaioken times 2 to, double. Kaioken times 1 get a little boost. Times 2 doubles his number. Can someone keep up? He has to go times 3, which he's not supposed to, but it's the only way to keep up with Vegeta.
Yeah.
And we also see, Vegeta's pride and ego also gets in the way a lot of this fight, because for Vegeta, he's a high class warrior. He's a Saiyan elite versus just some filthy Saiyan commoner. And so he underestimates Goku, which leads to a lot of his moments of downfall. Like the iconic moment of, remember when they do the beam clash, where it's Goku's struggling, he's times 4 and just blasts him. In that moment, had Vegeta just gone down there and fought Goku normally, he'd have been fine. Goku was weak. He was strained from the times 4, but no, he let his ego get in the way. He whined about it. It was like, all right, well, I have another tactic now. So Vegeta kind of got in his own way during this fight a lot, and I do. It's a good way of showing a character flaw demonstrated in a fight where he could have won if just not for who he was or how he was raised to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it was a really fun fight. A lot of the focus was on the tails and the great apes.
Yeah.
Vegeta creates a fake moon to transform into his great ape form, of course, because why wouldn't he?
Yeah, and
see just tons of other stuff. Especially, I will say this is one criticism I have with Dragon Ball, and I fully expect it to keep going. Fights just don't end. You can have like 50 different final attacks, 50 different. This is the last of my Hamon, Joseph. Take it. It gets to the point where at the end of this fight, I was like, please just let it end.
I mean, I will say though, granted, with this fight, I would say there were a lot of good twists. The finisher of the Gallic Gun versus Kamehameha. That's cool. That's great.
Yeah. It's just whenever you have 50 different things where like they look like they're on death's door, and then they keep hitting out like stronger and stronger. It's just.
This is one of the most. I'd say this is like, believe it or not, without spoiling much, excluding death, in what I'm saying, this is one of the most like brutal endings to a fight in Dragon Ball, where
really?
You have characters literally like, that's why I enjoy it so much, because we don't really get a lot of that later. Like, you have characters like limping at each other, being like, all right, I didn't hear no bell, like just continue that. I mean, and I don't mind the length of this fight, because Goku fights Vegeta first, he goes Mighty Ozuru. Goku has to like escape. We have Gohan and Krillin come in, and it sort of turns into their fight. Like, the most Goku can do after straining himself, and also the consequences of his actions. It's not like he can go Kaioken times 20 or something and like be unfazed. Like, no, he's phased right now. He can't move. So it's up to Krillin and Gohan to finish the fight. We see Gohan having like more his 1v1, and Krillin trying to use like the Spirit Bomb. I remember it in the anime where Krillin holds it and he's like, holy crap, like this is insane. This is so much power. And he hits Vegeta with it, but he hits Gohan first, right? And then Gohan bounces it at Vegeta.
Yeah, and it's also Yajirobe cuts off Vegeta's tail in the Great Ape form.
That was one of the sickest moments as a kid, dude. Watching, I was like, I don't know who this fat guy. Like, I had no idea. I was like, whoever you are, like, good job.
Yeah, I don't care for Yajirobe, but this was his best moment.
That was just one of my favorite moments in Dragon Ball. Like, up until in the entire arc, just watching some rando like just swallow all the fear. I'm like, all right, I got his tail. The rest of it's up to you. Then we see the fight go on, and the first ending, I agree. It should have been the Spirit Bomb that did it in.
Yeah, it's everything after this. It's like...
I don't mind Gohan going Mighty Ozuru. I don't mind it. I think it was a good extender, and it literally pushed everyone just to like be limping around. It's just so painful to watch. Just like Gohan's out, Goku's out, Vegeta like crawling with a single arm back to his ship, and Krillin just like slogging behind him with the sword. It was just a brutal ending to the fight, and I really did enjoy that, because it doesn't really happen as much, so it's just an ending to a fight that I value, because
maybe I'll grow to appreciate it more as time goes on.
Yeah, and again, I was a kid when I watched it. I watched it in the anime. It's not as recent to me, so you probably are right in saying it goes on too long, and I do agree with you. That is something that shows up later in Dragon Ball, where fights just don't stop. You've heard the meme of, this isn't even my perfect form.
Yeah, this isn't even my final form.
My final form, sorry. This isn't even my final form. That's Dragon Ball to a T. And it's an artificial way to extend the fights, because all it does is slap on a new coat of paint, boosts the number, and they're like, oh, I'm sorry, what do you mean? This is form number 7. I'm ready to fight still. And it's just, come on, really, just let it end. But in this fight, all the form change was Mighty Ape. It gets reverted, and then we see Vegeta on the defensive. That's why I enjoyed it. There was just a lot that happened, and I think it all built up and paid off in a satisfying way. Because then we do get to see, like I mentioned earlier, Goku lets Vegeta go. That's a very important moment, because that pretty much impacts the rest of the series.
Yeah, I will say, I thought with Raditz it was like, eh. And even with Piccolo at the end of the original, I was like, eh. I did like this.
Yeah,
like,
no, it was.
I mean, I think that Goku's an idiot, but I liked it and I liked his reasoning.
He is, but Krillin was an idiot too. Like Krillin didn't have to listen to him. Krillin, he literally had the sword to Vegeta's face. Like he could have done him in. And think about the humiliation Vegeta has to like live with now. Imagine you and your I don't know commander, like you and Nappa. You go to Earth, you go to steamroll everyone, and you get beat by a Saiyan hillbilly. His kid who's not even able to control his own powers. A fat man and a bald guy
with no nose.
With no nose.
Canonically does not have a nose.
And
he's fully human.
And you have to leave because they let you. That is one of the fattest L's if I've ever heard one for like a character in Dragon Ball so far. Like not even death, it's just to live. Vegeta has to live with the ass whooping that he got on Earth, and as we know, he's not dead. That what I'm saying now will become relevant later. That's why I'm stressing it right now.
Yeah,
like not for me spoilers, but yeah, it was a good fight. Sorry, I feel like
I loved the fight. I thought it was amazing.
You should watch some of the feeds in the anime. They're pretty good.
I am planning on going back and watching some stuff. So to finish off my notes here, everyone's rescued. Chi-Chi is worried about Gohan and not Goku. Krillin wants to find the planet Namek to get more Dragon Balls. The one spaceship blows up, but they find Kami's house. Or in his spaceship, it's a Namekian spaceship because Kami is a Namekian. Just because Piccolo's Namekian. Bulma, Krillin, and Gohan are going to Namek. And so then next we have Namek, and that is the Saiyan invasion arc.
Yeah, we talked a lot of we were negative at a lot of points, and I think it's fairly justifiable. I mean, it's and also one thing I will bring up, and I've heard so many rumors about this. I don't even know. I've heard that it gets worse later. I can tell you exactly like what I'm going to be talking about now. A lot of Toriyama's decision making and writing didn't really come from him, but it came from a lot of his editors. So, right, he still wrote it. He still, that doesn't excuse some of the poor writing that we discussed. That's not like a free pass, but I'll understand. Like, it's just a man trying to do his job to entertain people, and I keep that in mind when I criticize it. Like, it's a story. It's not like life or death. Because not Brandon. Some people might not like our video here of criticizing Dragon Ball.
But it's like we said at the beginning. I think Dragon Ball is extremely fun, and I loved reading every second of the Saiyan invasion arc. But looking at it objectively, it has its flaws.
It is a fun series. I'm happy that it's here because again, without it, a lot of my favorite series probably wouldn't be here. No, they definitely wouldn't be here. So I owe a lot to it for setting the trends for other authors to pick up those trends and be like, how can we change them in different, better ways? Yeah. Because Toriyama does a lot well. Like, again, we talked about a lot of the good points here. He clearly knows how to write action. Like, that's just fact, man. The action in Dragon Ball is phenomenal. Power scaling aside, like, the fights themselves are pretty cool.
Yeah, funny Goku man, he punched thing real good.
And later on, it gets a lot better. It's going to be a bit later. It definitely becomes a lot less objective. The power scaling gets better. Begrudgingly, I'll say it gets better at a certain point, and I can tell you when that happens. But right now, we're kind of in for it.
Yeah. So, Namek, what is the name? So that's the Saiyan invasion. What is technically the name of this next one?
Namek.
Just Namek.
If you want me to get into the specifics, in the Dragon Ball community, they don't call it arc, they call it saga. We have the Saiyan saga, the Frieza saga is next.
So this is the Frieza saga, like right now.
Yeah, this is the beginning of it.
Based. Frieza's the funny man who turns into a minority in the most recent chapter of Super, right?
Yes.
Based. And
yeah, well, so for the next one, are you going to read all of it and we're going to talk about all of it, or are you going to break it up? What? Because it is a bit long.
So my plan is, and I'll go ahead and say this on recording too. We've been talking for almost an hour, Kyle. Don't know if you've been keeping track. I think I'm going to find a spot in this video to break the video into 2. And then I think I am just going to go ahead and read all of Frieza. And then I will probably mark specific points in that video where we're going to say, okay, let's stop. That's one. We'll start again.
Okay, so sorry, what would you say? You were kind of a little bit.
I'll just explain after the episode.
Okay, cool. Sorry, but yes, looking forward to you reading the Namek saga. I'm going to say this, Brandon. I'm going to say this. Out of the arcs in Dragon Ball Z, it's probably this is going to be a hot take for me. It's probably the best written, like the logical arc to an extent.
Okay.
I don't want you to, I don't want to like raise your expectations crazy, but I think you're gonna like this next arc.
Well, I think regardless, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
All right. So, any last words?
We'll see you all on Namek.
Yeah. If you're this far in the video, obviously there's something that you like, so make sure to like and subscribe, and be sure to check out Groupers and Screens Book Club on Groupers and Screens, link in description, currently going through Hunter x Hunter, and then next is Bleach. We've already done Black Clover as well. Be sure to check that out if you enjoy this, and be sure to check out my other videos if you enjoy this type of content. We'll see you all next time in whatever video comes out after this one. Bye-bye.